Welcome to your functional core and crawling practice. So, what I love about this style of core practice is that it's really dynamic and it utilizes your entire body, it utilizes coordination. So, even though we oftentimes think of core as just being the kind of abdominal area, our whole body is always involved. This type of practice will also include some weight bearing on the hands and the wrists inside of this position, which is really, really important when we think about getting up off of the ground and being able to bear weight on our hands and use our hands as a resource to hoist ourselves back up. So another reason why I consider this to be a really functional type of practice is that it is whole body integrated, and we'll keep it pretty short as usual, but it is really, really useful. So hopefully you return to this many times over and make it part of your regular routine. So as we start, we are going to begin on hands and knees. We're going to stay low to the ground for this entire practice, so you shouldn't necessarily need anything other than yourself. If you want some cushion beneath your knees, grab a hold of a blanket so that you can give yourself some support there. But as we start on hands and knees, let's start just with your toes tucked under. So in a flexed foot position, shift some weight forward and back as you begin to load and offload through your hands, your wrists, as well as your toes and your feet. So just a few more shifts forward and back. And so the idea with your crawling practice is that it's a contralateral movement pattern, which means that you will be using opposite arm and hand and opposite foot and leg at the same time. So really, really important for our brain health as well. Now come back to center, untuck your toes so that it's just the tops of your feet that are on the ground, and then a couple more just shifts forward and back to get a wee bit of stretch into the tops of your feet while you also get a little bit of movement integrated into your knees and your ankles, along with, again, your hands and your wrists. Now come back to center. Tuck your right toes under, send your left leg straight back, take your right arm forward. So this is known as bird dog, and this is what I mean when I say opposite hand and foot will be working at the same time. So we're just going to take a moment to kind of get familiar with that idea. Return your hand, your knee, and your foot to switch sides. Take your left arm forward, right leg back, stretch. And come back to center. Then switch it out again. Left leg back, right arm forward. Land. Right leg back, left arm forward. Let's do each side one more time. Left leg back, right arm forward. Come back to center, reset, right leg back, left arm forward. Cool. Coming back. And then I want you to just try out some knee taps. So you're just going to lift your knees up and lower them back down. Try that a few more times. So we are going to start with a knee hand crawl first, which means that you're going to keep your knees on the ground, and then we can progress to a foot hand crawl, which means that the knees will be hovering. So you can play around with these progressions or regressions as much as you'd like. But for the time being, make sure that you have enough room so that you can take a couple strides forward and back, so it's not a ton of space. So as you come to center, start by crawling your right hand forward about a handprint or so, and then follow that with your left knee and your foot. And then switch. So you're going to take your left hand forward and right leg forward. Reverse, right leg back, left hand back. Left leg back, right hand back. So ideally what we're going to be looking at, and keep going for a moment while I'm talking at you, is ideally the hand, knee, and foot moving at virtually the same time, if not the same time. I want you to think about keeping your spine long, your pelvis level, the back of your neck long, so that you're gazing forward and out. You don't have to cram your head up. You don't have to look way down. Keep your neck relatively neutral as you crawl forward and you crawl back. Now back at center, we will try the foot hand crawl. So it's the same movement pattern, but you'll be hovering your knees. If you'd prefer to just continue working with this with knees down for the time being, that's cool too. Otherwise, you can play with toes tucked, knees up, just a little bit, just like an inch or two. Right hand forward, left toes forward. Left hand forward, right toes forward. And reverse, and reverse. Come forward and back. Come to center, lower your knees. Take a rest in whatever position in your body feels most comfortable. If you'd like to roll out your wrists, do that as well. Now we are going to add on, and I'm just quickly going to show you the foot hand crawl moving into an inverted foot hand crawl. You could do this with your bum down on the ground or lift it up, depending upon what's most comfortable for you. And it's really kind of like a pancake flip, but it's skillful, it's thoughtful, it's methodical. I'll show you what it looks like. We'll talk through it, and then we'll pull all of this together. So on hands and knees, I'll hover your knees, or if you keep your knees down, it'll be more of a kind of a slippy, slidey transition. Eventually, you'll have to lift your knees for at least a moment. But knees up, and then you're going to always carry your legs underneath you. So I'm going to find a little pivot in my trunk. And then eventually, it's going to be left leg underneath, right arm up and over. Land your foot, land your hand. Either keep hovering, or this could be where you could drop your seat and take a moment. And then with your seat again lifted, reversing, left leg underneath you, right arm up and over. Either keep your knees hovering or lower them down to rest. We'll move in the opposite direction, but same exact pattern. So it's going to be your right leg that sweeps underneath you. Notice I'm pivoting across my left foot behind me, and then left arm up and over. Either keep the weight of your hips up or lower them for a rest. And the hips will again rise. Right leg underneath, left arm up and over. Either keep your knees hovering or lower them down for a rest. We're going to try each side one more time. Hover your knees. Take your left leg underneath, right arm up and over. Either take a rest or keep hovering. Keep your hips low either way. Left leg underneath, right arm up and over. Take a rest or move to the second side straight away. Right leg underneath, left arm up and over. Rest or keep your hips up. Keep them low regardless. And reverse. Right leg underneath, left arm up and over. Take a moment, drop your knees, find a resting position, take a few breaths. Roll out your wrists again if you'd like to. So we like this, building some resilience in our hands and our wrists, but everybody kind of has a different threshold, so no need to overdo it. So you can take as much time as you want to rest. We are going to just put those simple movements together for just a couple more minutes of movement. So as you're ready, we'll arrive on hands and knees. And again, you get to choose whether or not it's the knee hand crawl with knees down or knees hovering off of the ground. Right hand forward, left knee forward, switch, and then bring it back. Let's go forward again. Bring it back. Come back to center. Hover your knees. Bring your left leg underneath. Right arm up and over. Again, left leg underneath. Right arm up and over. Switch, right leg underneath. Left arm up and over. Right leg underneath. Left arm up and over. Foot hand crawl, right hand forward, followed with your left toes. Take your next step, bring it back. One more time all the way through. 2 full steps forward and back. Arrive at center, lower your knees. Pick them back up. Left leg under, right arm up and over. Again, left leg under, right arm up and over. Opposite side, right leg under, left arm opens. And once more. Right leg under, left arm up and over, rest. Roll out your wrists. Bring the tops of your hands to touch, palms facing out. Roll your fingers toward your chest. And that is it for today. Really nice work.